this is Dr. Helen Sue of Hella Mental Health. And unfortunately, these days, we've had so many people asking how to cope with racial trauma and just racial stress. Did you know there's actually a minority stress theory that really addressed, even before this pandemic, xenophobia and hate? The fact that constant stress that comes from feeling marginalized or being treated badly does have an impact on your health and well-being. So that's real. Know that that is not something you're imagining. When we're stressed, our body has cortisols and adrenals. When we're feeling hypervigilant and worried or angry, that is very real, what it does to your mental and physical health. So there's a lot of tips, and it's a really complicated topic. So I'm going to actually break this up into 3 pieces based on time. What can you do for immediate, medium, and long-term coping? So just really briefly, immediate. We have gone through so many stressors as a community, as a nation, as a world. And now you add on top of it that some people are having to deal with the mix of intense feelings, anger, rage, grief, sadness, feeling threatened, feeling super worried for kids, for elders about safety. How do we stop all this harassment and hate and attacks on Asian Americans? So for the immediate, how do you cope when all this is going on? Then I want you to focus just on the health and safety of the now. And we'll talk more later about longer term coping and healing and even advocating making change. So a few things is, 1, do what you need to do for basic safety. You may want to take the bystander intervention training. You may want to review some self-defense training. Now, it's not the time to go and suddenly try to master a new skill because, for example, you're not going to become like a martial arts master in just like a few months or a year, but some basic self-defense training is really helpful. And bystander intervention, safety. Talk to your family, talk to your schools and your workplace to make sure that there's some safety, even where you're living. So that's like fundamental safety. Another thing is to express yourself. Know that a lot of feelings that you're having that may feel conflicted or like a roller coaster is really normal given what we're experiencing. And we all do better when we can flock together, tend and befriend one another during stress. So finding community, finding spaces, whether that's in Zoom or in church or in your family or in your chosen family, who can kind of relate to what's happening. And if you have a hard time and there's no one really around you, you don't live in a place like that, then there are online communities and spaces. And I'll put some examples of resources in the links for the video later for all of this. Another thing is just to master basic grounding skills. What does that mean? Grounding skills are just when we get really anxious or really upset and we're all up in our heads. Sometimes we feel disassociated from our bodies. We may feel flush with rage or fear. We really want to bring it down, bring our mind, body back together, be really here in the present so that we can think clearly. Doesn't mean that what you're feeling isn't important. It's just how do we sort of calmly modulate it so we can deal with whatever we need to deal with. And so grounding skills often involve deep breathing. I'll put links for things like people talk about box breathing. These are usually just really short things you can do when you only have a few minutes or you're really in the moment. There's things that are physically like a butterfly hug. How do we like bring ourselves back to our bodies, using our senses? So again, I'll put links in there. Basic grounding exercises, and even little kids can learn these, right? How we tell a kid sometimes, take a deep breath before you talk, think about things before you act. Another thing is moderate your media. This is not a good time to be doom scrolling, and it's really, really easy and understandable that you might just be watching all the news updates, all these horribly traumatic, upsetting, violent videos or racist videos. Really limit your media intake. It's good to be informed, but it is not helpful at all to just repeatedly take in content that is extremely upsetting. A lot of the Asian American journalists who've been working on sharing these stories so that the community is informed have actually suffered from a lot of emotional trauma themselves. The Asian American Journal Association on the East Coast even started a fundraiser to pay for therapy because it's so traumatic to constantly take in this kind of content. So no doom scrolling, limit your media intake. You can use apps to limit your time. You can ask your friends and family to keep each other accountable. Okay, so those are basics. Focus on health and safety. It's okay to do that for now. Express yourself. Do not keep this in. This is not a healthy time, and these are not healthy things. Learn a few basic grounding skills or practice the ones that you've got, and limit and moderate your media intake. So those are really immediate things about coping with anti-Asian harassment. And we'll talk more next time about what are some more medium-term and longer-term ways. All right, take good care of yourselves. We're in this for the long haul. So for right now, you want to make sure that your basic health and safety is steady.